All right. Make sure I'm fine too. Is my hair okay?
Yeah, perfect. I love the blow dry today.
Oh, my curls, man. You know, I gotta get it straight for the camera.
Right? Yeah, me too.
Welcome to Broadway Drumming 101. My guest today is Mariana Ramirez. Thank you for being a part of my podcast. Nice to see you.
Hi, Clayton. How are you? Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. I'm so glad that you're here, and I have a lot of things to ask you. And, you know, like I said in the pre-recording process, I have some questions about you being from another country. It's fascinating for myself to find people that have come from different countries and started fresh in the United States and risen to the top of their profession, like yourself. What made you decide to leave Mexico? So you're originally from Mexico City, or what part of Mexico are you from?
Yeah, I am from Mexico City, born and raised there. All my family is there, from pretty much Mexico City and like Mexico State, which is kind of the same area because it's really, really big. So it's like all together. So what made me leave? I guess ambition. Ambition to like be the best performer I could, like to have a good education, to learn another language. My dad, my family is not, they're not musicians, but my dad studied abroad in Cuba like before I was born. So I always like kind of grew up of that with that idea of like going to study abroad somewhere, because it kind of opens your point of view about everything, like experiencing another culture, another place to live, like all that, like opens up your mind in general and how you see things. So that was my idea first, to like get to school. And I mean, I met Andrew really early, like even before I moved to the States. So he helped me to like give me orientation in like where to study and all that. And then
Who's Andrew?
Andrew is my husband.
Oh, okay.
Another percussionist. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You met him in Mexico?
We met in Mexico in a gig with the Orchestra of Americas. And I actually met other percussionists there. It was Yuri. I don't know if you know her. She plays in Tina. Javier Diaz and Andrew and Nick Canizaro. It was in that gig. And Pete. So we met in that, and all of them are from New York. So I met them, and I still am in touch with some of them. Like that was in 2008. So it kind of like, you know, like opened the opportunity to be like, oh, New York is not a bad idea to move to and like go to school. Well, I went to school in New Jersey, but you know, the area. And yeah, the rest is history.
So you said your parents aren't musically inclined?
I mean, they like music, but they're psychologists. So they're no
Oh,
one
wow.
in my family is a, you know, professional musician. Well, I have a cousin, but yeah, we didn't like live together or something, so it's kind of coincidence that we are into music.
What made you decide to play drums and percussion?
When I was about 11 or 12, my parents took me to see Santana in like a place that is bigger than Madison Square Garden in Mexico.
Wow.
So it's open, it's not closed, it's like a humongous stadium, like humongous. And the concert was unbelievable. Like they had like 3 percussionists and a drummer and like a humongous band, and then Santana, and like everyone was going crazy. I never seen so many people together like going insane. And that really got me. I was like, this is just unbelievable. I would see the faces of people like just so happy, and like, and also me like listening to the music and the percussionist, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
And since then I was like, I mean, it took me a lot of years because I was 12 and I didn't start studying until I was like 18 or 17. And so it took like a while to like for me to start playing, but I knew that like that was what I wanted to do.
Did you want to actually play in a band like that, or because I know you went to Rutgers eventually, and you did a lot of percussion ensemble stuff? Did you have the goal of, I want to be in a band like in Santana one day, or did you say I just want to play drums no matter where I wind up?
Well, at the beginning, I wanted to like be part of like that band or a band like that, or like in Latin music, like that's my like favorite style. But then, like when I started studying music professionally, I was already old. So they were like, you're too old. But anyway, I was in a, like, I guess that's when you start thinking like, okay, maybe I'm old, but I don't have as much time as before to like experiment, or like, what's the best business move, Because like, at least that's what I thought. Because I was like, okay, so I don't have so many years to like go around and try things, and eventually this is gonna be my life, and I'm gonna have to, make it by myself. So what's the best way to go? And I decided to go to orchestral percussion. And also gigging in Mexico as a woman back then, it was not the easiest. Like, it's not, my parents were like, we support you, but it's gonna be hard for you to like go to bars and like festivals or whatever by yourself. Because I was also pretty young, and I don't know, I'm just like a family girl. So, but things can happen though, like, it's not like here. So nothing happened, but you have to be just careful. And so also that, and like, I didn't grow up in a family with music, so it's what it was presented to me. It was the orchestral percussion, and like eventually I won an orchestral position and stuff. So that's why I just went through that that path for them, because now my path is different. But at that moment, that's what happened.
So you won an orchestral position where in Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico. I was in an orchestra similar to the New World here in the States, something like that orchestra, but in Mexico. That's called Carlos Chavez. So I won that position in 2009.
So you had it was an audition, or?
Yeah.
So what did you have to do to prepare for that?
Oh man, I prepared a year for that audition. So it was like every day, like a marathon. Like I remember like practicing like 3-5 hours every single day at least for that audition. So you have to, play snare drum, like orchestral excerpts, glockenspiel, tambourine, triangle bass drum, marimba, xylophone. Like it's a whole list of excerpts that you work through, and you like have to play it pretty much perfect, like in just one shot. And in this orchestra, because in Mexico we don't have that many orchestras, people from all over the country comes to, well, it's similar here also, like people all from over the country goes and takes the auditions. So yeah, I was lucky. I mean, I worked my ass off for the whole year. Exactly. But I got it. Yeah, I got it. So they just choose like 2 or 3 from that audition, from all the people that go and make the audition. So yeah, I got it.
Did that prepare you to for your audition or for your admission process to Rutgers?
Definitely. First of all, that was my first orchestra audition in Mexico, because it was like my 3rd or 4th year of actually studying like for real. So yes, definitely at that, actually almost at the same time, I applied for Rutgers. So what I did in the orchestra, I didn't do exactly the same, but I took some of that for my audition and the process in Rutgers, and I got a scholarship. So that year was really, really good. Like I have learned to like if I'm working in one project, be able to use that one project to different things. Like you just like change it or adapt it to whatever's coming next without like starting over. So that's what I did for my audition in Rutgers. So I had to choose, like I won both and another scholarship in Mexico, and they're like, you cannot have everything, you have to choose. So I chose Rutgers.
Okay, now why Rutgers and not Juilliard or someplace in France or someplace in Great Britain or Italy?
Well, Europe is too far, and there's no good Mexican food. Like, I mean, there might be good, but it's like not everywhere. And here, like, there's tacos number one, on 43rd, and those are my favorite. So that was a big.
Wait, the taco place in between like 8th and 9th on 43rd, I think.
Yeah,
it's on the north side.
8 and Broadway. It's like in front of Harry Potter.
Oh,
the
really?
Theater of Harry Potter. Yeah, those are some of the best tacos here.
Really? Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because I over the past couple episodes I have this tendency to go off on a tangent. So here's another tangent alert. Tacos.
Yeah.
I love tacos. I'm sorry. I love tacos. Mexican food is one of my favorite foods on the planet. But in certain places you just don't want to eat tacos, like in Connecticut. No. And I went to some other place. I forgot where I went. I was like, no, I can't do this. I just got to know. I have places that I know to go to, and I know that they're authentic. And I tried fish tacos outside of San Diego and certain parts of LA, and it was just like, no, I can't do that. So I'm very picky with tacos, just like I'm sure you are. You can't just go to any old place. So
well, you will be surprised though, because when I was on tour, we were in St. Paul, and a friend of mine on tour, he's not Mexican, but he was like, oh, these tacos are really good. And I'm like, really? Like, it's like all full of snow, it's so cold, like how am I gonna find tacos here? They were one of the best.
Where was this again?
I was in St. Paul. So I was my mind blew because
in Minneapolis. Wow.
Yeah, they were one of the best tacos I had in the States, like even better than the ones in New York.
What?
Yeah, I was like, how is this possible? But yeah.
So back to the 43rd between Broadway and 8th. North side of the street, south side?
Left side, next to a place of sushi, like right in front.
Oh, really?
Of the Harry Potter theater, like right in front. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's always a line there. So.
Okay.
And they make their handmade tortillas, which is they're really good.
All right, now back to drumming.
Yeah. Sorry, I love food.
So again, Europe was too far, and they don't have good tacos in Italy.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think
we don't
that
know.
many. Yeah.
Yes. So you chose Rutgers. Now, why Rutgers and not some other music school?
Right. Well, because I did a late audition. So again, at that point, Andrew, my husband, was like helping me, like there's this school, there's that school and stuff. So I always wanted to go to MSM because one of the timpani players in Mexico, Gabriela Jimenez, she studied with Duncan Patton in MSM. So there's that, like, everyone knows. Well, I mean, they know each other from MSM in Mexico. So I always wanted to go there. But at the time I applied, it was too late. Like, I think it was April. So actually I applied, and Andrew mentioned, like, well, maybe it's not going to work out this year because it might be too late and they might already have given the scholarships and stuff. But try it anyway. So I did. I was like, yeah, maybe this is not going to happen. Plus, how am I going to move to another country in a couple months, right? So anyway, I'm just going to try. And I tried, and I got the scholarship that I exactly needed, because it's really expensive to study here as a Mexican, because the exchange rate is like $1 equals 19 pesos. So if you make that conversion, is a lot, is super expensive. So anyway, I made my budget, and I was like, I need this much for a scholarship. I have this much because I always had scholarships in Mexico, and I saved all that money for like 3-4 years because I always wanted to study abroad. So I always kept it with that on mind of one day I'm gonna go and I need that. So I had that, and then my parents helped too. So I was like, I remember when I told my parents, and I pretty much had a sheet with, I need this money, blah, 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 like a whole plan. And I was like, here's my plan. This is what I got for a scholarship. Can I go? And they were like, yeah. So I went, and so I moved. And then also, so I got accepted. Why I didn't get to other schools? Because I applied late, and because I got the scholarship there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
When people get to either college or coming to New York City, and they are a star musician and wherever they come from, and then they get around a bunch of other people that are just as good. Did you find that you were intimidated, and how did you handle that? Or did you feel like, oh my God, there's so many great musicians, let me just learn from everybody? Were you intimidated, or were you inspired?
I think both. I was super intimidated for other things like the language. I always knew English, but moving here, man, everyone talks so fast. And it's like, wait, what? Can you just slow down a little bit? And yeah, it was hard. I knew English. You have to take tests, and they don't just let you come here and oh, good luck. No, it's a whole process of not only music. So, yeah, that was one of the things that I remember, something that I really miss a lot of years was to tell jokes, because I really like to tell jokes, and I couldn't tell them because I didn't have, the way to translate it fast in my mind. I just couldn't. So I would be think about a joke in Spanish, and I'm oh, I can say it because I don't know how to say it. So yeah, that's intimidating. When you cannot communicate right away and fast, and everything is so fast paced here that, oh man, it's hard. I remember having headaches every day because I was thinking so hard. So I was intimidated for the cultural shock because it's completely different.
So what's the biggest difference between Mexico City and, well, Mexico City and Rutgers is a big difference, but Mexico City and New York City, tell me what the big cultural differences are.
Well, I love New York, so I really like from here that there's people from everywhere. I have the chance to meet people from many cultures and play with people with from many cultures, so that's so cool. We don't have that in Mexico. In Mexico, we're pretty much all Mexicans, and yeah, there's people from other countries more now, but growing up, we don't really have that. We don't have much diversity. Our culture is very diverse, but not from other cultures, So that's a huge difference. Mexico is 2 or 3 times bigger than New York, so you have to really know how to move around, and that's something I used to love. I drive a lot. I used to drive a lot, and I will have friends in many different places of the city, and I was really proud because my mom would be like, hey, I have to go to this part of the city, how do I get there? And I would be like, oh yeah, you take this and that and blah blah blah. So that's a really good skill to have in Mexico. We didn't have GPS back then, so you just have to remember how to get there. But also that when I have traveled to other countries, that kind of idea helped me a lot because you just figure it out. Maybe you don't even know, the language or something, and you get where you have to go. So there's some skills that I learned in Mexico that you can apply in the whole world, like the driving, because if you drive in Mexico City, you can drive in pretty much everywhere, even in Cambodia. And yeah, no, for sure, for real. And
what's Cambodia like? Have you been there?
well, yeah, there's no, well, in the part that I was, they're not red light or green light. It's like everybody for everybody. So you have to go
Really?
like shoo, shoo, like
Oh
that,
my God.
from, shoo, you know, it's like a video
Wow.
game. But nobody crashes. It's insane. Nobody crashes. I don't know if you've seen videos online that everyone is like that.
Yes.
It's like that.
Wow.
Mexico is not so much like that, but sometimes. So there's situations that maybe the light doesn't work and then you have to do that, but it's not like all the time. It's like once in a while. But it's a good preparation.
So is New York City that much faster paced than Mexico City?
Yeah, definitely. In Mexico City or in Mexico, we still make time, like, you know, on the weekends to like get together as a family and like have breakfast with the grandparents and see your cousins. And maybe it's not every weekend, but as often as possible. Or like at night, there's always parties. Like there's always like, oh, there's a birthday, we're gonna get together, and then you get together, and like there's so everybody works a lot, but there's also time to like get together with family and friends, and that's a very important like thing for us. And here, sometimes you're so busy that there's not time for that. So, yeah.
Do you try to incorporate some of those customs into your life here in the United States?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. There's some like, especially in Christmas time, we have like the tricking days that we get together to like cut the traditional like bread. In September, yeah, it's just the idea of just getting together once in a while, like share a meal, like talk and like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I try to do that as much as possible.
And when you get together, I'm sure you have really good tacos.
Yeah. Well, not only tacos, like Andrew, actually, we spent 3 months in Mexico in COVID, and he learned how to make huevos rancheros from like salsa from scratch and handmade tortillas. So now he's, yeah, like
Flour or corn?
corn. Yeah. So he's a really good cook. And yeah, when we get together, we try to do different things. Like if it's breakfast, huevos rancheros or chilaquiles. And other friends are from other parts of Mexico and they cook more seafood and like ceviche and aguachile and like pasta with, yeah. Sorry, I love food.
I'm about to hang up. I'm about to go get some food right now. Sounds
Yeah.
so good. I love Mexican food. I'm sorry.
We love food too.
Back to drumming again.
Yes. Maybe we should do a podcast about
food.
Yeah.
I tell you, your colleague Elena is.
Elena.
Yeah. Oh my God, we talked about Italian food. Man, we should just. I think I said this on her podcast, like having some kind of potluck where all these drummers that I'm talking to, we get together and just bring our favorite dish and we'll talk drums and food.
Yeah, I mean, I see Elena every day at the show, and we're always talking about food. And when we go out to eat or something, we like look at the menu the day before, and like we think what we're gonna order. And it's like, hey, have you seen this dish? And it's like, looks so good. I know what I'm gonna get tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, we're
Wow.
like into that. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. We'll get to 6 in a minute, folks. We'll get to the big time. Right now, we're going over food and Rutgers, and so you got to Rutgers, you got your degree, and what was the focus at Rutgers?
It was
Orchestral, percussion?
orchestral as well, but I started studying with Javier Diaz there. He does the Afro-Cuban ensemble there, and so that's when I finally I was like, oh, this is what I really like. But yeah, my idea was to continue in orchestral percussion, to go back to Mexico, because also those 3 years I started getting called to play with like the Orquesta de Minería, which is a summer orchestra, but it's really, really good orchestra there. And the National Symphony, and like they used to fly me back to like teach orchestral stuff. So I was like, yeah, if I just go back, like my idea was to I'll make a degree here and go back and get a better orchestra. But I fell in love and I got married, so I stayed here, and I'm happy that I did that. I made that decision. So also in those years in Rutgers, I realized that to be working in New York, you have to play as many things as possible, like styles, instruments, and all that. And then is when I decided that, well, if I'm going to stay here, I have to, start doing other things, like not only orchestra. And honestly, I didn't have the money to pursue an orchestra career. It's a lot of money, and it was hard. Like as a Mexican here, it's hard. So that was another business decision I made, but I'm so glad I made. And yeah, so it was, my background, it was in orchestra. I spent a lot of time on that. But then once I finished school, I started changing to like other things, like playing with bands. I always played with a band though. Like before my studies in Mexico, I used to play with a cover band. Like we played rock, like Soda Stereo, and like Latin American rock, which it was really cool. So I played that before. So after school, I kind of started doing that kind of stuff again. And musicals and like everything I could do.
Well, when you said that you used to drive all the time when you were in Mexico City and other places, and your driving skills are top notch. Did you have a car when you came to Rutgers or afterwards?
No, I didn't have anything. Like I had 2 suitcases. That was it.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I didn't even have a lot of sticks or mallets or. Yeah, nope, I didn't have a car.
Did you eventually get one? Do you drive now?
We did. Now, thank God, yes. Yeah, but no, I didn't have a car all those years in school. I went a lot back and forth. Like Andrew lived in New York and I lived in New Jersey. Just buses and subways and all that stuff. And then we got married, and our first year when we got married, we got a car. Yeah, because I was teaching in New Jersey, so I had to like go back and forth a lot. So yeah, until 2013, and I moved here 2010.
So you stayed here and you started playing in different groups. And what was the thing that I know that you were doing some things that you founded, like the percussion quartet Excelsius? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I finished school and all that, and I remember I was sitting one day like watching videos of, so percussion and different ensembles that are so good, and I was like, they're amazing, but there's no girls. Like, why aren't there girls? Like, there's not even mixed, it's just like guys. So I was like, maybe that should change. So I just had the idea of making the quartet, and I knew Marcelina from before, like years before. I knew Aya because her husband went to Rutgers doing his PhD at the same time I was an undergrad. So I knew Aya, and Marcelina invited Clara. And I reached out to them and I said, I want to make a quartet. I just think we should, do something different. And I mean, there's such good musicians. So we got together and we had one rehearsal, and then we're like, oh yeah, we actually like each other a lot. So it worked out, and then we performed our first concert in the Day of Percussion in NYU that year. I think it was, maybe 2013, 14, something like that. And since then, we've been together having really cool adventures and cool gigs. So yeah, like now Marcelina is in New World Symphony, Aya is in New Heaven Symphony, and Clara, she's not part of the ensemble, but we just invited Britton Matthews, an amazing soloist player, and so we're getting ready for next season.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Sometimes, putting together things that don't exist currently is just the way to go. It's like, wait, why? That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, because there is no one else doing something specifically for drummers and percussionists that play Broadway shows. So I'm like, why not me? Why not start it? But I think that's great. Where'd the name Excelsius come from? Excelsis, sorry.
Excelsis is a Latin word and means in the highest. So when I was thinking about the ensemble, I was looking and thinking for names, and something that I was like, well, I need a word that is kind of universal, because we all speak different languages in ensemble. Like Marcelina speaks Polish, Aya speaks Japanese, I speak Spanish, and Britton speaks English. Everybody speaks English, but mostly all of us are from other countries, and like we grew up in other countries and came here. So, and it's actually funny because we all have different accents and sometimes we don't understand each other. but, but at the end we always understand each other, but it's a lot of fun. And so I was like, Latin is the root of like pretty much all the languages. Like all the languages come from Latin, and it's something universal. So I was like looking for a good meaning, and then the word, and Excelsis was the one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You have also done stuff for not only for the National Symphony of Mexico, the Dartmouth Symphony, South Florida Symphony, and the first Women's Orchestra of Mexico.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And the New York Ensemble Fairfield Orchestra. It's a lot of great stuff you've done in there. Was this all after Rutgers, or?
Yeah, pretty much everything. I mean, South Florida was during Rutgers. The orchestras in Mexico, I played with them during Rutgers. So I guess half and half, yeah.
And what is the Desoff Choir?
Desoff Choir is a choir that they put together to premiere new works for choir and orchestra, and they make really cool recordings. And the last time I played with them, I think it was Alice Tulijo, we premiere. It was a piece by a Cuban composer with orchestra, so it's like new works, like contemporary, like mixing styles and cultures.
I know that you worked for Javier Diaz's Afro-Cuban ensemble at Rutgers, and Javier was one of the percussionists at Ain't Too Proud, the show that I was recently in, and you subbed for him, and that's where I met you, and we played together a number of different times, and I'm glad we met, because you are a killer player, and it was a pleasure working with you. Too bad we can't do it again on that show, but someday down the road we'll get to work together. But let me just ask you about Broadway. What was your introduction to Broadway, and who basically connected you into the whole matrix of Broadway drumming?
Well, Andrew is the guilty one. Well, yeah, like in Mexico, I didn't know much about musical theater because we didn't have pretty much anything. And the only thing I knew about musical theater was the movie of Phantom of the Opera, like the old one.
I just saw that last night.
Oh, really? Whoa, the movie or the show? Because last night was a 34-year
Yeah, I went
anniversary.
to that show, yes.
Nice.
Did you go?
I was supposed to go, but I didn't go.
Okay.
Yeah, how was it?
Interesting.
Okay. Okay.
I'll tell you offline what I thought. It's not. I mean, just to be honest, it's not really my type of musical. It is what it is, and it's been running 34 years for a reason.
Yeah.
If I had the ability to have a show to run for 34 years, I'd be like, hey, come see it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not really my thing, but anyway, Phantom.
Yeah, so it was not my thing either. so so I was like, I'm not sure about musical theater, like maybe it's not, I don't know. But then I came to New York even before I actually moved, and Andrew took me to see Phantom, but on Broadway. It's completely different to watch a movie and to watch a show. So when I saw the show, I was like, oh, this is Broadway. Like there was no comparison with the movie and the show, even if it's not, my favorite show, but it was the first one that I ever saw on Broadway. So I was like, wow, that makes sense. It's really cool. And then we went to, like, time after we saw Lion King, and that's when I was like, this is just amazing. Like, I could do this. Like, I would love to do this. It took a lot of years for me to get there, but because I was like trying to keep in the orchestral world and like that kind of stuff, but I wasn't, I was figuring it out, like what I wanted to like do after school. But then I started meeting percussionists and drummers, some of them from the pit, like I would call them or email them or something and be like, I just want to say hi and see the show. So I started doing a little bit of that for a while. And until 2018, it took years. Suddenly, actually, Javier Diaz was the first one who gave me my first shot on Broadway.
Oh,
he was
wow.
like, yeah, he was like, hey, I need a sub for Once on This Island. You want to come and watch? And I'm like, yes, yes, finally. And yeah, I went, I saw a show, and I learned it and had my first shot.
Was the preparation for Once on This Island subbing there very similar to the preparation to do a audition for a orchestral ensemble?
No, I think it's completely different. In Javier's book, he made the whole book, and he, like, the way he approached that book, it was very unique because he had a hybrid setup, and there were a lot of groups and rhythms that he only knows how to do because he put together, a drum set and hand drums. So there's nothing written about that, or like a method for that, or so I had to like learn the whole thing, like listening, watching, and like figuring all out. When you're getting ready for an audition, everything is written down, and yeah, you have to listen to recordings, and yes, of course you have to like put your like part of your musicianship, but pretty much everything is written down. And on Broadway, that's not the case. So some things are written down, but a lot it has to do with the player, which is also so cool. Like, I really like that, and I'm so glad I now do this because it's just different. But yeah, it helps you, I guess, to learn how to know how to learn a book, like maybe this part, then this part, then this part, to organize your approach. That helps in the like getting ready for auditions, because you have to organize yourself and your mind because you have so much to cover. But it's a different thing.
Did you usually when people sub on shows, it's a very, very stressful time. Were you, like most other people, stressed out right before the show, or were you so confident that you were like, I got this. This is nothing.
Well, first of all, I memorized the whole thing. So I was like, I was reading the music, but if the music fell down, I could keep going, or like that kind of stuff. because I thought in every single possibility that could go wrong, because you know, you just have one shot. And it was my first shot, and you know, it's not like, oh, maybe something happened but we know she's good. No, like nobody knew me. So it was my first shot. So I practiced so hard and tried to, like, I learned pretty much everything by memory. So if anything went wrong, I could like be ready to it. And I'm so glad I did that. So yeah, I was, and also like trying to sound as close as Javier, because there were some even improvisation parts in that show, and like the rhythms were just so key of the whole show, because it's like an Afro-Cuban show, so it's only one drummer, and I tried to like play as close as what Javier was doing. But yeah, that day I was very nervous. And because we were on top of a truck, we were on stage, so you have to like get on like stairs, but it's like a ladder. It's not even stairs. You had to climb a ladder. So first of all, walk into the sand, then get to the ladder, climb the ladder, like make sure that I don't trip in the guitar and the bass, because it was like small and I'm really clumsy. So that was like, okay, so there, and then, you know, like once you're there, you're on stage. And it's your only shot, and you see the people, and it was great. I was very nervous, but I was really excited too. It was like, have you jumped from the bungee?
No.
Or parachute or something?
No, but I've always wanted to, and I know a lot of people who have, and they say how exciting and exhilarating it is. Have you done that?
It was that. I just did the bungee. Yeah. I did
Really?
bungee once. Yeah. It was like that. It was like, I really want to do this. It's so like, and then you go and it's amazing.
I know what you mean. Now, usually when people do shows and they sub at shows and they knock the first show out of the park, they're like, yeah, I did it. I got it. I remember my first show, I was like, I'm so proud of myself. I subbed the show. Then the second show, you're like, I got this. And then the second show doesn't go as well as the first, and you start making mistakes because you think you got it, but I don't know. Have you had that experience or?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, after the first show, that's one of the things that Javier told me. He was like, you did great, but the second show is always the hardest. And I'm so glad he said that, because I wouldn't know. And yeah, so again, I just, you know, I kept practicing and be ready for the next show. And the next show went really well. I mean, yeah, it was, but thankfully, because, yeah, somebody advised me to do that.
Yes, I'm
So I
glad
was
he
lucky.
said that. Because
Yeah.
it's true. The second show usually is harder because you didn't put in the same amount of time, and sometimes you get a call like last minute, then you got to go and play, and you think you have it down, and sometimes you don't, but you got to make sure that you put in that same amount of concentration and energy that you did for the first show, for the second and third and fourth and 45th, because
Yeah.
you're still performing for an audience that has never seen the show, and you have to do the same level of performance that you did when you first started. So you did Once on This Island, and did you do any other shows outside of that, or was Ain't Too Proud the next one that you did with Javier, or did you do any other subbing any place else?
After that, I think I did Head Over Heels on drum set for Dina. So I was subbing that one.
And how did you meet Dina? Dina Torriello, by the way.
Yeah, Dina. I love her.
Great.
She's great, yeah. My friend Andres Ferreiro? Oh, I forgot his last name.
Yes,
Oh, man.
from Hamilton.
He's gonna kill me.
Andres from Hamilton, yes.
Yes, he's gonna kill me. Okay, well, Andres, we're good friends, and he knew that Dina was looking for subs, so he put me in touch with her, and then yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, Hidi from Once on This Island, the guitar player, he put me in touch with Jana, another drummer. She was playing Merrily We Roll Along Off-Broadway. So I saw for Jana, and then I was playing Fiddler on the Roof. So at some point I was doing like 3 shows at the same time,
Wow.
so being 3 shows. And after that, I got the Once on This Island tour. Into Proud, and then Once on This Island tour. And then I went on tour, I came back, and then 6.
She's putting up 6 fingers for people that are just listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So, which brings us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The musical 6. And she's pointing to the. I think I need to be a director. She's pointing to the poster behind her, and so the musical 6. How did you get connected into that?
Oh my God, it's maybe one of the few things good from COVID. No, so honestly. So first of all, I wasn't part of 6 before when they were gonna open, because I was on tour with Once on This Island, like before COVID hit. So I was on tour. I was so excited for Elena. I knew Elena before, that she had her show, and I heard amazing things from the show, so I was really happy for them. But I was on tour. So COVID hit, everything closed down. I went to Mexico for almost a year. For almost a year to be with my family. Then I came back, and in the summer we were in Williamstown Theater Festival doing another musical. And I got a call from Christy, and she was like, I might call you later for a show. And I'm like, sorry. I am like, okay, yeah, sure, yes, please call me. And I didn't know what was about. And then eventually I knew what was about, but I got the confirmation that I got the gig like 1 week or 2 weeks before, so everything was really fast. So I came back from Williamstown. I was supposed to go to Ogunquit to play another show, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Am I gonna go to Ogunquit? Am I gonna stay in New York? Like, I don't know. Like, it was like I had to decide really fast. And at some point, Christy called and it's like, you got it. So you have to be, I think, next week, like this day in rehearsals and stuff. And your book is like that. I mean, they sent me the book pretty fast. But yeah, it was really, really fast. And yeah, I got there. We had 1 rehearsal with the MD, 1 rehearsal with the band, and I ran the show for my first time in the first preview.
And that was March 10th of 2020?
No, that was this September.
Oh, so
yeah, that was September.
So you did it when it came back?
When it came back, sorry. When it came back.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So that's why I say that is one of the good things of COVID, because my book wasn't part of the show before COVID. They closed. The union rules say that they should have 6 musicians, and they added me and 1 more, and Liz. And so thank God, yeah, I got that opportunity.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go into 6, I want to ask you more about that. For those who are looking at this video, there's The Lion King behind you and Rhythm of the Night. You didn't tell me about those 2. Did you?
Because they're not mine. Those are Andrew's. Andrew subs on Lion King. He's been subbing there for more than 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Rhythm of the Night, that was his show in Australia. So he lived 1 or 2 years in Australia. So I'm not going to show you because I didn't clean my apartment today. But but if I turn around the camera to that side, we have a whole wall of
shows.
So we have, between both of us, we have like 13 shows. So there's like all the wall full of shows. Les Mis, In the Heights, Once on This Island, Beetlejuice, Ain't Too Proud, Spider-Man, Gentleman's Guide, Cyrano, Hereford Hills. Yeah.
So what does he play again?
Percussion and drums. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wait, what's his name again?
Andrew Bill.
Okay, man,
Yeah.
very very cool. So how many shows have you all done together? I mean, you said 13 over on
I
that wall.
think about 13. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's been here since, I don't know, like for 13 years. But he always had Lion King. So that's why it's like our shows.
That's great. That's great. So did you have any input into the parts that you're playing at six now, or was it all written out?
No, it was all written out because they already had the whole music. You know, like the show, it was already working without my book. So they just took parts of the keyboard and the drum set book and they put it in mine. So my book is all electronics and keyboard.
What kind of electronics are you playing?
Pads, pads and keyboard.
So
It's fun.
nothing acoustic?
Nope, nothing.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that do you feel I guess happy about that? I don't know if I should just say happy, but do you wish you could play just put a shaker in my hand? Could I do something? Or are you okay with that? And
No, I'm having a great time. I have learned to like enjoy what you have because you know like our business, especially after COVID, we don't know how long it's gonna last. Like, yeah, I mean we all go through that, and also I had my share of like playing really hard books. And I like that too a lot. But you know, like when you have a hard book, enjoy the hard book. When you have another book, electronics book, enjoy your electronics book. Like, so yeah, I'm really happy, and I just feel really really blessed to have this opportunity, especially after so many years of being looking like and trying to get it. Like it took me a lot of years. Yeah.
you definitely appreciate it when you've been searching and trying hard to get there and you're finally there. You're like, wait a minute, this is great. I felt that way when I got Memphis the Musical back in 2009. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this for a living, and I love every single minute of it. For the almost 3 years that we were there, I was like, this is great. And I felt the same way about Lady Day, and I felt the same way about Ain't Too Proud. And yeah,
Oh my God, Memphis was so good. I remember that show. That show was so good. I forgot you played that. Yeah, it sounded so good. Yes.
I used to love, I going back to my first time subbing. My first show that I subbed on was Rent, and I just remember looking out in the audience and saying, "Man, if I could have my own show where I'm playing music that I love to play, I'd be in heaven." And then 2 years later, I get Memphis. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. So yeah, if you put a bunch of pads in front of me, and I had to play with chopsticks, I'd be like, hey, I'm cool with it. How long are we gonna be running?
Yeah, and I mean everything like you do that, but then you can do other music. Like that's not the only thing you do.
That's
Like,
correct. That's another thing
Yeah.
that people, if you don't know, people that are listening, Broadway musicians can take off up to 50% of their shows, so you don't have to be there all the time. What that does is it keeps you valuable in the marketplace for anyone that might need a drummer for a club date or a recording session or even a tour. You can go on a tour, you can play other things. Plus, it keeps your musical skills sharp by being able to play other things. So taking off so that you don't have to play the same thing over and over again I think is essential. But nowadays, I don't know if I'd ever take off again.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's crazy now. Now it's
It
like
is.
different.
It
It's
is.
like I think we all been those days that are like, who knows if this is gonna be the last show? Like
Right.
It-
Unfortunately,
it's just.
but yours.
But I mean, sorry, it's unfortunately, but on the other side, it's like, I think we start to value more, the shows.
Yes.
Like, so yeah, it's one
Yeah, the
thing
thing is,
for another,
I
guess.
knew what I had when I had it. With Ain't Too Proud, even though I wish we were still open. But you realize what you have right now. That's why you're like, You know, it's electronic, but it's a great gig. The people that you're working with are great. The show is great. The money is great. What more can you ask for other than just having a shaker in your hand?
Well, the thing is, I have a shaker. Well, I have a pad, so I can start I can keep playing whatever or do a lot of other things that nobody knows about.
Oh, really?
Because I don't even need to be, quiet. Because everything is electronic, so I don't have mics, so I can even tell jokes on the mics to the band, and no one will hear except them. And yeah,
that's
so
great.
Pretty,
do you
cool.
do that when you're playing? Do you
Not yet, but I think I want to start doing it. I tell jokes at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
One or two jokes.
Going back to what you were saying before, I mean, have your jokes gotten better with your better
Yes.
English?
Yes, I do. I thank God. But I read them though. I read them. So I choose one or two for some shows, and I will be like, "Are you guys ready for the jokes?" And yeah, I would just read them.
I tell you, I'm terrible at telling jokes. And I was ridiculed by a lot of people in Memphis the musical. I'd be like, yeah, so two people walk into a bar, right? And then the guy says to the other guy, hi. And I'm like, oh my God, I just screwed up the whole joke. They're like, boo, boo. Oh, man, I'm terrible. But
well, I don't know if, sorry.
When I do tell a good joke, it's good. But, I got to prepare like I'm about to sub. I got to prepare my jokes the same way I would if I was going to sub a show.
Yeah.
1 month is one month of getting ready to tell one joke. So one of these days, you got a joke for us right now?
Oh man.
No, I don't want to put you on the spot. Think of one. If you have one, then tell at the end of the.
Well, the thing is, I don't have them memorized, but I have screenshots, all the time. Yeah, I do have one.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
Guy walks into a bar. No, go ahead.
No, my jokes are kid jokes. So it's what do you call an illegally parked frog?
What do you call an illegally parked frog? What?
Toad. Yeah, those are my kind of jokes.
I'm going to add the
Exactly. Elena always does that.
I'm going to put that part of the podcast. You'll see.
No!
I'm going to have a laugh track, too.
Well, okay. Oh, and aplausos, because that's a thing. Claps.
Yes, yeah.
Aplausos.
Exactly.
Aplausos. Yeah, it's when no one laughs and you're like, okay, aplausos. It was oh, okay.
I'm going to have the applause sign up, too, flashing. So anyone that's watching this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you're on a hit Broadway show, and you hire, now you're in a position to hire people. What do you look for when you're hiring subs?
Yeah, for me it's very important that I try to be surrounded by people that are good people and what's a good person is somebody cares for others, that are respectful, that do a good job in music, that they're grateful for what they're doing, that they keep working hard at whatever they want to do. And that's I think it's very important to be a good person, more than even a musician. I mean, obviously a good musician, but there's a lot of good musicians, and this world needs more of good people. So I think that's one of my first things to do anything, not just for my show, to work with different people and to, yeah.
So besides being a good person and a great musician, what do you think is the most important thing that any drummer / percussionist should know about being a success on Broadway?
Oh man, one thing?
Yeah. Or many things.
Cook and bring food. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, that helps, but I guess just somebody to I mean, obviously everyone is already in a very high music level, you know, so I think that's a given, but I think what makes the difference is whoever you can work better with, you know, like who, and again, for me, somebody who's respectful, responsible, that you can trust, that they're gonna do a good job on your book, that you can trust that they're gonna let you know, when can they do it, and that they're gonna be there for you if you need them, especially as a sub. So that's why we also have different people, right? Because some of them are busy and stuff, but also I guess someone honest that tells you what they need, and when do they need it, especially as a sub. It's stressful, you know, like to play a show only one time and have one shot. So for them to be prepared, I think there should be good communication of what they need and when can they do it. But I think everything comes down to be able to have good relationships with people around you. Like, obviously be a good worker, but be able to have good relationships and be yourself. Like, you know, like, don't try hard to be a good person, or don't try hard to do something. It's just like, if that's you, that's you. If it's not you, it's not. You know, like, I always rather someone like transparent than someone else trying to be something that they're not.
What advice would you give to someone that's interested in playing drums for Broadway shows?
To get to know people, that they're doing what they want to do, and to, you know, like, talk with them, hang out with them, make friends with them if you can. But again, all honest, you know, like, all like true relationships. Sometimes you meet someone and, you know, you don't become friends, and it's fine, you know, but you know each other, and that's totally fine. You don't have to, like, you know, push or anything. It's just organically that those things happen. And yeah, at some point, if they know what you're doing, how you do it, they're gonna call you for one thing or another. So at least that's how, like, I kind of got into it, just to know people that they do what I wanted to do, and eventually I got the shot. And be patient, I guess. Be patient and resilient.
How does somebody get to know the musicians that are on Broadway? Like, what do you recommend somebody do in order to get to know our colleagues?
Well, when I did it, I used to reach out to them and go watch them play from the pit. I met some of them in my school, like, you know, having lessons with Javier and other musicians in master classes, and just reaching out to people. Like, right now, I think that's even easier than before, like when I moved here, because now we have so many things to reach out to people, like Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, text. So I think the challenge now is know how to reach to people, because reaching out is part of it, but also be sensitive to that person, because, you know, like, maybe they don't want to know about you right now, and that's okay. Like, it's fine, you know, like, maybe not now, but learn how to know that, like, not to push it too much, or not to do it, like, you know, extremes not. So just be, like, yeah, sensitive to other people's needs, and so reach out and don't give up if that's what you really want.
I know that you're playing electronics on stage at 6, but when you're not playing on stage with 6 and playing those electronic instruments, what kind of gear do you use?
Actually, I don't play on stage. I'm the only one on the pit.
Oh, really?
So I'm not on stage. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, which is cool, really, really.
Wait,
cool.
are you the only one in the pit?
Yeah.
It's discrimination.
No, it's great. I like it. I like it.
So that's why you could be down there telling jokes and writing.
Exactly. Exactly. Imagine me telling jokes in the stage. It will look weird.
Ah, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, what kind of right now I'm doing a lot of drum set. I'm gonna be subbing for Elena as well, so I learned that book. I'm just waiting to get called for that. So my gear is pearl, all pearl stuff. How do you say this word? I forgot. They're my sponsors. They're my sponsors.
Okay.
And so I use all pearl, and I have Mexican marimba. I brought a Mexican marimba from Mexico years ago, like a traditional Mexican marimba. So I also like work on that. And but yeah, pretty much everything, like hand drums, accessories for orchestral stuff that sometimes I do, or for the shows, like orchestral part, all is Adams and Pearl. But yeah, at the moment I'm doing more drum set for the show.
So you haven't had a chance to sub for Elena yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet, but
Soon,
it's coming.
though. That's great.
Yeah.
I got to see the show one day. Sometimes.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems like it from what I've did little clips that I've seen. Eventually, what other projects are you working on at the moment? Are you doing much outside of the show?
Not at the moment, but I have a workshop coming up, and there's going to be a lot of Latin percussion. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of congas and timbales and like all that, like salsa rhythm. So I'm very excited about that. We start next week. So
And
that's
that's-
going to be another month. Yeah.
It's going to be the ensemble that you work with.
No, it's another workshop of another musical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a developmental workshop that we're gonna try a couple things. So I'm doing that next month. I might be with New Heaven Symphony in March, and in May we're probably gonna have. We need to figure it out, but it seems that we might go to Miami with the ensemble to play a couple concerts with Excelsis, and so far that's it. Yeah.
That's great.
But
What-
if COVID doesn't bring everything down.
let's stay positive with that, and let's make sure that everything good happens to you, and the show runs for at least 6 years.
Hey, yes! Oh my God, I like that. Yes. Let's make that happen, people. Come on.
Yes,
Come and see the
yes.
show.
Put some good vibes out there.
Yeah.
You're a lot of people don't like this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Your top 5 drummers of all time.
Oh no.
Okay. Who are some of your influences? Forget the top 5 then.
Okay. It's just I'm really bad with names. Like, well, I mean, one of my huge influences is obviously Shilai, because first of all, I'm pretty sure I saw her brothers in that concert with Santana, like in Mexico, because they used to play with him. So I'm pretty sure it was them. So that, and then she's a woman. She's a badass. She was a badass in even a different time, like when like when she was playing, there were even less female drummers around. So I'm sure she had all these challenges, and I read about her, like she wrote a book and all the stuff, and her dad is Mexican. So there's a lot of things that, yeah, I look up to her, not only playing, like also like her lives experiences and her style and everything. And yeah, I think she's one of my biggest influences on drumming. Steve Gadd, I love Steve Gadd.
You ever get a chance to meet Sheila E. yet?
Not yet. I wrote to her once, but she never answered.
One thing about playing shows, it's different now, unfortunately, but in the future, when things get better, when you have a show, a lot of people come see the show and they come backstage, and I met so many of my heroes growing up. I was like, oh my God, that's LL Cool J, that's Peyton Manning, that's Kenneth Gamble, that's Jennifer Hudson. And, you start meeting and Smokey Robinson, and everybody comes to see your show, and Sonia Sotomayor. I'm like, oh my God, and Hillary Clinton. And one day you're gonna be like, oh my God, that's Sheila E. She's backstage finally. I think it's gonna happen one day. Again, we're gonna
I hope so.
Put out the good vibes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
And Steve Gadd and all your.
Yeah, let's leave it there.
So where can people find you on social media?
I'm more on Instagram. My handle is Mariana_drums. I might change it for Mariana_little beats. Yeah, I got that nickname in a gig not too long ago, and I really like it.
Wait, little what?
Little beats.
BITC.
BEATS. Beats.
Little beats. Okay.
Yeah, little
okay.
beats.
Cool.
But yeah, for now it's Mariana_drums.
Nice.
On Instagram.
So if anybody needs to reach you, they can look at all of your social media there.
Yeah, I also have a website. It's marianapercussion.com, and there's all my stuff there too.
Great. Well, it was a pleasure getting to know you and talking to you, and I can't wait for people to see this instead of just hearing, because you're putting up great signs, which we're gonna keep putting up because.
Yes.
6. Go see 6. Go see Mariana and Elena, and maybe if you listen closely, you can hear jokes being told in between songs.
I mean, no, you won't hear that, but
no, you won't hear that. But that'd be funny if one day somebody pipes in or connects your mic to the speakers out front. Oh man,
maybe not rehearsal. Oh, actually, I did have that happening one time. It was funny. Everybody heard.
What, they put your mic in the speakers in the house?
Yeah, we were in rehearsals before previews, and I said something. Yeah, but it was very funny.
Oh wow, that's great.
I'm not gonna repeat it because it's a little Eve, but
a little risque.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mariana. I really appreciate you taking time out, and it was great to talk to you. And go see 6 if you can, because I definitely need to see it.
Yeah. Come and say hi.
I will definitely do that.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.